All right, American tennis fans, buckle up, because this one just might sting a little. So Ben Shelton, you know here at Hot Take Tennis, we are a big fan of the kid. One of the sport's most electric young talents just captured his first Masters 1000 title at the National Bank Open. And congrats, round of applause. Let's give him credit where it's due. This kid is fearless, plays with power, and so much flair. But make no mistake, what happened in Toronto won't go down as the most grueling road to a title by any means. This was not 2007 Nalbandian Madrid run where he beat Roger, Rafa, and Novak in a single tournament. Well, why? Because Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, and Novak, arguably the three most dangerous figures in the sport right now, all skipped the tournament. That means the lion's share of elite competition was simply not in the draw. Now, we seriously rate Shelton among our favorites. He might be our most favorite player, but we still have to call it like we see it. The Masters 1000 title came from one of the weakest draws we've seen in ages. But let's break down exactly why. And let us know if you disagree. So first, some context. For those of you that don't know, the Canadian Open, renamed the National Bank Open, is a massive elite level event on the ATP Tour. A Masters 1000 to be specific. Winning here typically means going through a gauntlet of top 10 juggernauts. But in 2025, not so much. So the top three players, Alcaraz, Sinner, and Zverev, two of which weren't even in the tournament. And Novak, who's been up and down this year but still one of the most dangerous players in the world, also sat out. So that makes the draw easier. So let's look at Shelton's path and break it down. So obviously, as a top 10 player himself, he got a bye in the first round. Then he faced off against Adrian Mannarino, who came in as a qualifier. So he was already tired, played a bunch of matches, and Mannarino, as much as we like to see him play, he's definitely past his prime. He's getting up there in age, and it's just not much of a challenge for Shelton anymore. Then probably arguably his toughest match of the tournament was against fellow American Brandon Nakashima, who has had unbelievable results and can really push the best players to their limits, but always seems to fall short. Then he played Flavio Cobolli in round of 16, very strong up-and-coming player again, but Ben's just a little more solidified. Then he came up against Alex de Minaur, who had just came off of his big tournament win, who just came off his win at the City Open, so we know he was tired from all of his matches in DC, especially that insane final. Then he played a relatively inconsistent Taylor Fritz, who probably was the favorite going into the match, but just didn't really seem to show up. Taylor's had good results this year and has been playing very solid, but there's something going on where he seems to lack some of that fire. Now, just to be really precise, the other semifinals was Khachanov-Zverev. Zverev probably being the next most dangerous player for Shelton to play, other than Fritz, who he kind of cruised through in straights. And guess what happened in that semi? Yep, that's right. Khachanov actually took out Zverev to make it to the final. So, believe us, none of these players are pushovers. There's no such thing as a pushover in the ATP. Shelton earned each win tough. A lot of them going to 3 sets, but none of them were Alcaraz, Sinner, or Djokovic. And as much as we don't want to admit it, that matters. It's like running the last leg of a marathon with everyone else out and still calling it a world-class performance. And as we kind of talked about before, the main kicker is that Shelton didn't even have to face Zverev, one of the most dangerous and informed players on tour right now. Look, Zverev's been a Masters 1000 machine lately, with the kind of baseline consistency and big match experience that could have given Shelton a completely different test. But Ben never saw him, thanks to Karen Khachanov taking him out in the semis. And while credit to Khachanov for playing one of his best matches in recent memory, it meant Shelton's final hurdle was against a player who, frankly, doesn't have the same defensive wall or relentless pressure that Zverev brings, and especially not the firepower backhand, which almost puts Ben Shelton being a lefty into a disadvantage. Because remember, lefties want to lock down righties into those forehand to backhand rallies. But against Zverev, that's so much harder. Khachanov, different story. So it's just another layer of how this draw opened up perfectly for Shelton. Almost like every possible roadblock got cleared out before he even got there. Now, we can't disregard how impressive Shelton's run was. His title propelled him to a career high of world number 6, the youngest American to claw that high since Andy Roddick in 2004. He rallied from a set down but filtered through a smoother draw. Winning a first Masters 1000 title is no joke, period, regardless of the draw. You need consistency and nerve, especially in the final where he was clutch. Losing the first set, but he persevered and was resilient. Still though, given the absence of the absolute elite, we can't ignore the relief factor in the draw. Hey, if you're liking this hard-hitting breakdown, hit subscribe now, because there's a difference between cheering talent and overlooking context. And if you think calling this a weaker draw is controversial, let's talk it out in the comments below. Alright, back to it. Why were Alcaraz, Sinner, and Novak MIA? Well, for Alcaraz and Sinner, it could be strategic US Open prep. These guys get to tailor their schedule, and skipping the Canadian Masters event helps with rest and practice. But without them, the tournament just looked like the best players were missing, and they were. Now, the field wasn't weak, but the very top were glaringly absent. Moreover, Khachanov, though formidable, isn't the same anchor in the draw as Sinner or Alcaraz. Fritz had a great run, but still missed Alcaraz's consistency and Sinner's versatility. Shelton beat good players, but not the best. But Shelton really put it best, and his comments showed a lot of maturity.
Just to have opportunities like this, not many people in life get to experience things like this. The joy that I feel today isn't just because of the win, but it's because of the people that I get to spend every day with, the people that I love, the people that love me, the people that will fight for me, have my back. There's a couple here, but there's a whole lot that aren't here.
Now, was this the easiest Masters 1000 win? Well, not really, but context does matter. So yes, Shelton's run was impressive. He's young, talented, and now a Masters champion, alongside fellow American Fritz, who, has a 6-year age advantage on him. But let's be honest, beating Alcaraz, Sinner, or Novak would elevate this title into the realm of legendary. Instead, Shelton took advantage of the opportunity and earned it. Think of it as beating a spec for a billion-dollar startup when all the big sharks step back. Still significant, but not the same high-stakes fight. For Ben, we think this win changes the landscape, though. It gives him a fresh shot of confidence, a belief that he belongs at the top, and that he can navigate a high-stakes draw. But here's the thing. He's still gonna run into that Alcaraz-Sinner wall for the foreseeable future. Those two are operating on a level the rest of the tour is still trying to catch up to. That said, this result brings him one step closer to that level. And we do believe, wholeheartedly, that Ben Shelton will be the next American man to win a slam. When? Well, that's the part we don't know. So Ben Shelton's first Masters 1000 is an absolute milestone. One that cements his arrival, but we have to give it proper perspective. And this was a softer draw than usual. Potentially the softest draw we've seen in 2 decades. We are the biggest fan of Shelton, and he deserves praise for seizing the moment with mental toughness and aggression. But still, context matters. The easiest Masters 1000 draw win? Maybe, but it's also a planner's move. Maximize your chances, stay hungry, and you might just come out on top. Let us know in the comments, what do you think? Are we fair? Too harsh? And don't forget to subscribe for more hot take tennis, hot takes that balance fandom with honesty. We'll see you next time.